Now, hello everybody, and welcome to the 21st episode of James Squared. Been away, schedules are different and whatnot.
Yeah.
When I think of 21, of course, Melau, I think of Wally Joyner, Matt Theis, I guess, and of course, Shigetoshi Hasagawa.
Good old Shiggy. Get Shiggy with it.
I was trying to think of
Get
other
Shiggy with it.
21s, but that's only ones that I remember.
Juan Rivera wore 21 for a year
That's
once.
what I thought. Yeah. Because John Garland
For a
left.
season. Right.
He was number 20, and
Right.
Rivera had to take 21. Duh. After that, it's like, I don't know. Anyway, please follow and subscribe and like to Halos in the Infield, wherever you are. And then for the podcast form, go to believe.com for all the information there. And then please go to Nobel Works for 10% off some deals there for your beer there, some specials there. And also, Melau, go to 714 tickets.
714 tickets. 714 tickets. You can call today and go tonight. Or you can get online today and go tonight.
I don't know if you can hear in the background, but people are flying to 714 tickets to go get whatever they need to for the football season's coming up, college and pros. Now they're going to move locations. Right there at the Stadium Promenade is what it's called. I haven't been there in forever, but we're going to have a Heedy trifecta or triangle there where you get hit Noble, you get hit Mezzo, and 714 tickets. You did mention concerts, Angel tickets, Duck tickets coming up. Whatever the case is, you have family members that like the other team in the area or the Padres. You can find anything anywhere, really. Also, go to Bet Online. It's your number one source for all the games this season, every stat, every matchup, even live odds during games. And then when the games are over, head over to the online casino and get on a game of blackjack, poker, and unwind with 150 slot games. Head over to the website too today, Bet Online, and use that promo code, all in caps, BELIEVE, BLEAV, for 50% off your welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, the game starts here. Now, Melau, let's recap the first half of the season really quick. It all started, of course, in Baltimore, in which the Angels only took 1 out of 3. Detmers started off pretty well, 3-0, and then fell off ever since. And he's been struggling at Salt Lake City and has yet to come back to form. The Angels did have a 4-game winning streak kind of out of the gate there, sweeping Miami. Then had streaks of 5 in a row losing, 4 in a row losing, 3 in a row. Another 5-game streak losing in the end of May, beginning of June. 3-win sweep against the Padres somehow. Then they won 6 in a row, then ended up losing 5 in a row. This team is just crazy to think
Inconsistent.
about. Yeah. 3-game losing streak, and guess what? They end the unofficial first half with 3 wins in a row. They took 3 out of 4 against first place Seattle at the Big A. I can't ever explain this team, but it's just a combination of ingredients pretty much that are either bland, you have some fresh ones, and you have ones that aren't really, really good that you're putting into one pot. And you have, the chef Wash just trying to put it together. But it's just been a wild thing. All over the place. It's been really crazy. Let's put it into grades, Melau. For the offense in whole, if you were to put it in grades, what would you give the offense? For me, I would give it maybe a C, because some nights they're there and some nights they aren't. And that's been a big problem, especially during the losing streaks, of course. But I would give it a C. How about you?
Yeah, I'm with you, James. I'm definitely giving it a C because it's been wildly inconsistent. But we've been we've shown that we can score some runs once we play together as a team and the offense gets rolling.
I'm looking at. Go ahead.
Yeah, the offense has been inconsistent like the rest of the team. Yeah, C's a fair evaluation for the first half of the season so far.
It's amazing to see Joe Adele lead the team in home runs, but his batting average is so poor. Taylor Ward, even though he leads the team in RBIs, he's really hot and cold. Ohapi leads the team in hits, and a catcher in the team history has never done that, and he has it at 80. So that's a really good thing. Also, he has the highest batting average at only 276. Ward has his 14 home runs. He started off really well. Once he got to that double-digit home run total, he's been kind of falling after that. And maybe you could blame the hit by pitch that he had against Detroit, which it was in the ear flap. Maybe that can contribute to his inconsistency. Neto has 12 home runs. Rengifo up and down with 6. It feels like he should have more. Ohapi with 14. Trout with 10. But, of course, Trout was, banged up. And he hasn't been playing with the Angels since May. In that Philly series, he was gone. And also Rendon, April 20th, he was out against the Cincinnati Reds. And then, he finally came back last week. He's played, 5 games in a row, set one, and came back for one. Brandon Drury's been kind of a disappointment when you think about it offensively. That's been a problem there for Brandon. Only 6 home runs, 33 RBIs, just nothing consistent from Brandon Drury this year. Pretty much untradeable, by the way. The Angels, to mention, they are 17-14 in their City Connect jerseys, and 17-14. And thank you for Terry Smith for pointing that out. The on-base percentage goes to Hoppy with 328. But, all in all, the offense just had its struggles. Sometimes they would carry the team, but many times it did not. All right, so when Melau comes back, we'll talk to him about the pitching, which I'll get to, though. And the pitching, to me, it all starts with Tyler Anderson. He's been really, really good when he can be. I'd probably give the whole rotation it's been all over the place when you really think about it. I don't know if you can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so I went with the pitching here, and I'm looking at the rotation. You throw out Sandoval, you throw out Detmers, and basically all you have is Tyler Anderson and Jose Soriano being who they are. And then Griffin Canning is so up and down. Really don't know what you're going to get. Anderson, 8-8 record at the break. Still giving up a lot of home runs, but when he doesn't have that fastball, power fastball, that's going to be a problem. When you look at the bullpen, Carson Fulmer has kind of been a bright spot. Hunter Strickland was good, then bad. Garcia's just here. Matt Moore has really been struggling, not the same as last year. Carlos Estevez, remember, he started off pretty bad, and he started to climb up with the saves. He's been really good with 17. Adam Simber got hurt, but he was struggling before he was injured. And then Ben Joyce was called up, and he's been pretty good. His stuff is electric. He's been pretty good to see. So all in all, I'd probably give the pitching, despite everything that's gone on, Soriano coming out from spring training, just starting to be a starter. Not really expecting what he's bringing, but he's got the fire and desire. I really like that. I'd probably give the pitching a C too, just because of the folks that aren't carrying their weight, like Sandoval, like Detmers, and then Matt Moore out of the bullpen struggling, Hunter Strickland doing the same thing, along with Garcia. He's bound to give up that big home run that'll get you out of games. So what do you think about the pitching?
So the pitching, I give the starting rotation. I'm going to split it up here, starting rotation and relieving. I'm going to give the starting rotation a D because the only consistent pitcher has been Tyler Anderson. He is our true ace. And the others, Canning, inconsistent. And then we had Sandoval go down, of course, with Tommy John. And then we mix in the others, Soriano's been good, but small sample size so far. He's been good for us in the starting rotation. Long term for a full season, we'll find out, and then the back of the rotation hasn't been good. But the relieving, I would give a C- because we've made some improvements. We've lost some guys, to Tommy John once again, Stevenson, who didn't even pitch as an Angel.
Oh, yeah.
So far. So the back end of the bullpen, more consistent lately. To start the season, the first half was inconsistent, but you got to give Carlos Estevez credit for really putting it together toward the end of this first half. And then, of course, Ben Joyce has been off the charts. He had a bad appearance or two, but lately he's really turned it on, found other pitches. His fastball's been electric. No one can hit 104, 105 miles an hour out the gate there. So that's been unbelievable. He's up there with Miller from the A's, right now. So that's the one really good bright spot of the whole rotation. I mean, the relief corps has been Joyce, and the others have been Luis Garcia has been what you expect from Luis Garcia, 4+ ERA. That's about what you're going to get. High 3, upper 4. But the rest, Adam Simber, of course, he had his good, inconsistent, good and bad, but it turns out he's dealt with some injuries and he's still out. He'll be coming back for the second half soon. But all in all, yeah, between the starters and the relievers, overall, I say C-. But
One thing I can think about too, you don't really expect much from Davis Daniel. He had a great start, then a bad start.
He's not ready. No.
And it's so unfortunate to see that. I was hoping to see more from him. One guy I could say that really surprised me was Hans Kraus. Getting a couple of wins, pitching in really tough situations late in games. Really enjoyed watching him pitch and have the excitement that he has. That's been pretty fun to see. Let's get to the fielding because the Angels have 50 errors. That's kind of mid in the teams, or it's bottom, not toward the top, but toward the bottom almost. So you understand the shortstop, the third baseman, they're going to have the bulk of the errors. So Rengifo and Neto have 6. Shanuel at 3 with Ward and Drury. Poppy has 4. But all in all, not too bad. Adele with only 1. I think that's been a big improvement from what he was. So that's been good to see. Moniak as well, just with 2. How would you give the fielding? For me, I would probably give it a B+ because they're a young team. You're expecting mistakes, but it hasn't been too bad other from previous years in which you had either veterans or, sit-ins come in and just throw the ball all over the place. Rendon only has 2 this year. I know he's only played a couple, it feels like a couple of games, but not too many games this year. But how would you give this defense? What would you grade the fielding?
Well, as you recall, Ron Washington, part of the reasoning for bringing in Ron Washington as manager this year was to improve on the infield overall play. And for the most part, they've learned from Wash and infield coach Ryan Goen, but it's been sometimes been an adventure, and because these guys are young. But you could see what kind of things that Wash has instilled in these players. They're a lot better getting the ball, especially with Neto. You can see the improvement already. He's getting to the ball
Mm-hmm.
faster. He can just pick it right off the dirt. Something that Washington preaches. So the overall grade I would give the infield play overall is probably B, a solid
Yeah,
B. It's
I like.
improved a lot, but 50 years on the season, that's overall. But I mean, mid, it's only hopefully it gets better. You would think, but yeah, outfielder's a whole different story. I mean, Adele, making tons of errors out there still, but has improved. I must say. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
and that was good to see. Before we get to the standings in the second half, uh, there was the was it on Sunday the MLB draft was a Saturday, I can't remember. I think it was Sunday. But the Angels had the 8th pick overall. They selected Christian Moore, a second baseman from Tennessee, champion. Um, None of these picks, I think one signed out of the many. But in the second round, 45th overall, Chris Cortez out of Texas A&M. He's a right-handed pitcher, probably better as a reliever. Cortez has a power sinker, fastball that can get up to possibly triple digits later on, 96 to 98. The problem I think is location. We'll have to see how he does. Coming up in spring last year. Go back to Christian Moore though. He's fiery. He plays with emotion. He has some power. His defense is pretty solid. And it's going to be interesting to see how fast he comes up through the ranks in the minors. I don't know if we'll see these two and any others come up, fast like Neto and Shanuel and Silseth. I also have to mention too the Angels later on they went out and got some pitchers. They took 6 on the second draft day, and their 3rd through 6th picks later on were all pitchers as well. So they really needed some pitching, especially in the minors, especially in AAA. It seems like in AA they have it all figured and ready to go, but AAA, please sack Silseth whenever he comes back. But other than that, you don't really have anyone really young that you could bring up and fare well. What did you think about the Angels draft? I mean, picking Moore was maybe a surprise to many at 8 for the Angels, a second baseman. What did you think? Was it a surprise to you, or did you think that they were going to go pitching? What do you think?
Well, I thought, I first off, I thought this was a pretty typical Perry Benassi draft because of the pitching. But I mean, I was a little surprised that we picked a second baseman for the very first pick. But I love this pick at number 8, Christian Moore. Like you said, fiery guy. He says he wants to win, and you want guys that say they want to win because they're going to carry a chip on their shoulder. So this guy's is multi-talented. He can also play third base. But he hit 34 bombs with the Bulls, won a College World Series because he's already a winner. He was above average in the field, but with the coaches that we have now, I think that's going to improve a little bit, especially in the infield there. great guy. I mean, he was excited to be an Angel, so we need more guys like that. Second baseman, something we haven't had since Howie Kendrick. Let's be real. We haven't had a really
Yeah.
stable first or second baseman.
Yeah.
Since Howie. So this is going to be, I think it's something that we needed. Our young infield is growing, and it's great. I like the second round pick and Chris Cortez. He has some good stuff, and I think it's going to play really soon. He's projected to be a reliever in our bullpen. Could be a starter, but he's most likely going to be a reliever. We have some other picks too that were projected as starters, but are probably going to be relievers. So that was great. There was a couple wild cards in there. Most notably, in the 17th round, we picked up Manny Ramirez's son, Lucas Ramirez, an outfielder who's 6'3" and goes 205 pounds. So if he decides to sign, he hasn't signed yet, but we'll have a former Red Sox player, his son, and a former Dodger too, and Lucas Ramirez in the minors, and that should be kind of exciting. You like to see the former players, especially ones that you kind of hated growing up, and now they're in your system, which is going to be interesting. So hopefully he's not taking any steroids. He doesn't do anything bad, So we'll see. I was kind of impressed with all the pitching. We went pitching heavy once again because, we could never have enough pitching, especially in this organization. We need the pitchers. So we'll see how that turns out. A couple have already signed. We picked up a catcher, Summerhill, I think his last name is. He was supposed to be pretty good in the later rounds. But, you never know how these picks are going to turn out, whether they're going to sign or whether they're going to be what they're projected to be. As you know, it's a lot different. Baseball is a lot different from any other sport in that respect. You can plug in basketball, you can plug in your first round pick. He's already on the team. But as we've seen over the last couple of years, we have Neto come up. He was our first round pick 2 years ago. Then we have Sean Well come up. He was our pick last year. Will we see Christian Moore? That remains to be seen. But we may see him during September call-ups just to see what the Angels have here. I mean, if he's fiery, he's going to fit right in with this lineup. And we're going to be so young. We're rebuilding without actual rebuilding. So that's what I
Looks like we lost Melau, but I never like rebuilding with building or whatever he said. I just don't like that, and that's why they're in the predicament they're in right now, the Angels, and it's just unfortunate. Let's see. Looking at the other draft picks, let me get those real quick. The day 2 ones were interesting. Well, day 1, day 2. Excuse me. Like I mentioned, 4. What was it? Yeah, 5 pitchers in a row. Ryan Prager from Texas A&M, so he has a teammate coming with Cortez. Austin Gordon from Clemson. Dylan Jordan from high school in Florida. Peyton Olenek from Miami, Ohio. And then Bridger Holmes from Oregon State University. And if you know anything about Oregon State University, they are very successful in college baseball. So hopefully Bridger Holmes will make an impact here in the major leagues. All right. As we wait for Melau to come back, we will look at the standings. There really isn't any news and notes. Andrew Wantz went of course, under a knife for surgery again, so he'll be out till probably next year, a little more. But looking at the standings right now, as we go into this unofficial second half of the season, the Angels are 41-55, fourth place, 10 games out of first place. Seattle in first place, they're barely holding on against the Houston Astros, they made a run. Texas is 5 back, and then Oakland 15 games back. For the wild card, if you're just wondering, the Angels are 12.5 back, so it looks like the division would be the only way to get in. There's a plethora of teams in the AL wild card just trying to get in, but I doubt that's going to happen. I'll ask you one question, Melau, as you're back. Did you expect the Angels to have a worse record than 41, or I'm sorry, 41-55, or a little bit better?
Well, I was expecting the Angels to have a little bit better of a record by the half. I was hoping that we would, take Oakland in that 3-game series in which we got swept. But I mean, I guess it's right on par to what we all expected. This team is kind of a little bit of a train wreck. So,
oh yeah,
that I guess it could have been worse. I mean, we're still only 10 games back in a division that's not so good, quite frankly. So, anything's possible. That's our only saving grace, I think, so far this first half. But I mean, wild cards, different story, right? Where I thought we would be, we're 12 back. But this is when you have a team that's wildly inconsistent like the Angels are, you expect to be at least 10 to 15 games under 500. So I honestly thought, looking into the season, totally healthy, we'd be right about 500, but injuries once again reared their ugly head, and here we are once again, 14, 15 games under 500. So hopefully it gets better. I think it will, with Mike Trout coming back within the next couple of weeks. We'll find out.
Yeah, I was looking at the, only a couple of times that they were above 500, and when they were 3-2, 5-3, 6-4. Then after that, after about their 7th win, they started to go downhill from there. So let's get to the unofficial second half of the season. It starts off with the 3-game series in Oakland for the final time in Oakland, by the way. Angels don't have their starters announced, but Sears, Spence, and Estes will go for Oakland. Then the Angels go to Seattle, and then Oakland comes to the Big A for the final time. So already Oakland is done with in the month of July. And that is, a 4-game series, and maybe I'll be out for one of those. It will be throwback weekend. Colorado also comes in for 3, along with the Mets for 3. So that's a huge homestand there when you really think about it. What is that? 10-game homestand between Oakland, Colorado, and the Mets. Not going to draw well, but hopefully the Angels can do well. Then the Angels start off pretty much August with New York, with the Mets. And then the other New York team, they go to Yankee Stadium. They go to Washington. And then coming back, they play Toronto and Atlanta at home. And it'll be interesting to see Toronto because, again, the trade deadline is at the end of this month in July, and we'll see if Toronto will make some moves. They've been rumored to shut it down and open up shop again, but with younger players. So we'll see what happens there. After Atlanta, the Angels go to Kansas City. They go to Toronto and go to Detroit. It's pretty much the longest homestand or road trip, I think, at least in the second half. Then to end August, Seattle comes to town along with the Dodgers for the 2-game series. And then that'll start off September. The Angels go to Texas for a 4-game series and then 3 in Minnesota. And then also back home, Houston for 3 and the White Sox for 3, and then back on the road for 4 in Houston, and then the White Sox in Chicago for 3, and then the last series at home against Texas. It's just a lot of home and away, home and away, home and away. Judging by the schedule, Melau, I had the Angels at 69 wins, But it feels like to me now it's going to be 65 maybe. I'm hoping not, I'm hoping over, of course, that this team has never lost more than 95 games. But, I'm trying to figure out if they're going to. I hope not. I'll say 65 wins just because the White Sox have pieces they can trade. So, they're going to empty out what they have. And guess what? You might see some of those Angel draft or former Angel minor leaguers playing against the Angels for the White Sox if they call those guys up. Remember last Hero, Kai Bush. You might see those guys play against the Angels. That might be an opportunity for those guys to get some revenge, possibly, and say hello to former people they know. But yeah, I'm gonna say 65 wins to end the season. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm with you, James. About 64, 65 wins. Well, the schedule's favorable. I mean, for us, we have one of the weakest remaining schedules for this season, so anything can happen. But with just the way the Angels are so consistent this year in the injuries, it's looking more like at least a 60, maybe a 63, 64 win season for this team. I'm hoping I'm wrong. We're getting some guys back, so we'll see what happens with that.
About Trout, I think we heard maybe at the end of this month, but I'm looking more toward August, mid-August, or not, maybe early August. What do you think? What have you heard?
I'm thinking maybe the first week in August. Yeah. Maybe when that Colorado series rolls around, because there's an off day there, then maybe they want to debut him during the homestand sometime, or they wait until we go on the road. But maybe somewhere around then. He says he's feeling pretty good. He just had his second son, and it's all a matter of whether the knee can take cutting. When running, taking the corners, and playing the outfield. He's got to test it in the outfield. Put some pressure on it, see if he can maintain the daily rigors of playing a game. So he's yet to do that. So he's probably a few weeks away.
I want to see him be a DH.
Yeah, I'm thinking they're gonna what's that gonna do with Rendon if he's still healthy? How's that gonna work? Because they're both gonna be Rendon's gonna have to play more, or they just alternate them. One day when Rendon's playing the field, Trout's gonna be the DH,
right?
And then Trout would play probably in the field, and then Rendon would be the DH.
You just throw Rendon out there. You just throw him out there.
You just throw him out there. He's ready. He's 100%.
Bound to get hurt anyway. He's bound to get hurt anyway. As we've seen all year long, the Angels have thrown out the young guys to play the outfield. Moniak. You switch it with Adele. That's why Pilar hasn't played, according to others. And also, I remember when somebody said the schedule was favorable, the Angels went on to lose, so many games in a row. But whenever you have the White Sox for 6 in September, maybe they'll finish out the year pretty well. And the Angels kind of do that sometimes, where they have a lost season, but they finish off September pretty well.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the June they had, where they had a winning record.
There's like 1 or 2 good months the Angels
but it's
have.
Often not. It's always June, or it's either it used to be April and May.
Yeah, at one time.
And now it's like, when it doesn't matter pretty much. So we'll see if the schedule is favorable and if the Angels could take care of it. I doubt it. We'll just see how the other teams come in. We'll close out the show with this segment here. Which Halos are getting traded? Now, we heard about Tyler Anderson. You brought up the rumor about Taylor Ward possibly going to the Pittsburgh Pirates. They're interested in him. Rengifo may be too banged up. Was it Estevez, the closer, since he's in the last year of his deal? maybe a team will take him and get some bullpen, help, and maybe a team that really needs a closer. Let's say one goes out, he can be that guy. I can't think of anybody else really. Maybe I don't know if Brandon Drury has any trade value anymore. That was last year. This year he's been awful. Todd hates that guy. But
among others, yeah.
He has one a year where it's like it was Squid, it was Suarez, now it's Drury this year. Moniak this year as well. But what subtractions do you think the Angels will make before the deadline? Did I mention all of them? Do you think some will get cut? Pilar will get traded? What are you thinking?
Well, you have two really good trade chips, and that would be Tyler Anderson and Carlos Estevez, of course. But Tyler Anderson has one more year on his contract, so the Angels could keep him. But he's our most valuable trade chip because we don't have much. And maybe Carlos Estevez, someone picks him up, that could be another, and put maybe Ben Joyce in that closer's role, see how he does there with his 105-mile-an-hour fastball. Renjifo's another one, but he's been on the IL. Maybe it would behoove the Angels to keep him, keep it young, and Renjifo's kind of broken out here in the last couple of years, been more consistent. Maybe it's Pilar because he's retiring, that could be, he had expressed an interest that he liked playing for the Atlanta Braves. Maybe the Braves pick him up for a run because they need outfielders, since Acuna went down earlier in the season. The Angels don't have much. Taylor Ward's another one. I mean, the rumors, Taylor Ward, those have been swirling, but it's kind of calmed down a bit. With the Pirates don't have any outfielders, really. So that'd be a good trade partner, but I'm hoping for a team. If any of these guys go, I hope we get some good major league ready prospects for these guys, or someone we can plug in to see, young guys that we can plug in the lineup to see what we have. But it's all gonna, I don't know, or you never know what the Angels gonna do. You never know what Perry's gonna do. We could stand pat like we usually do and not trade anybody. Maybe trade one player. Maybe make a run at the division because it's so crappy right now, or just get rid of everybody. Who knows? We don't know what Perry Manassian's thinking.
Milu, one surprise I might have is Matt Thaiss, because he's not getting the playing time.
That's intriguing.
Maybe there's someone out there that needs a backup catcher. I don't know. That just came to me right now.
We do have Chad Wallach in the minors. He hasn't come up at all this season. He doesn't hit for much, but he's a pretty good catcher, and he did catch Reed Detmer's no-hitter. So that's a possibility. I mean, we don't get to see him play because O'Hoppy's been the catcher for this team. So he plays once a week now. So that could be an intriguing. I just don't think he carries much trade value, though, unless you're really looking for a catcher like the White Sox just let go of Martin Maldonado.
Yeah, I think he's going to go back to the Astros.
That's what I thought, too. That's what I think.
He controls the pitchers very well. I really think he's going to go back to Houston, and I bet he's thankful for getting out of the South Side. He should just sign the contract with Houston no matter what. He should just stay every year with Houston. But yeah, we'll see. And Halo's in the infield. Of course, we'll have a show, just like we did last year, where the Angels were making moves right down to the deadline. This year, though, should be controlled. Moves should be done pretty early because teams really know what they need and what they want. So I don't think it would be hectic like last year. And plus, if the Angels were 5 games out of first place, it would be a scenario like last year.
Yeah.
But 10 games
We're
out.
keeping them.
And then
and it could be the case by the time we get there too. It could be with our schedule the next 2 weeks. The next 2 weeks are going to tell. It may be a totally different team within 10 days or so, or more than that, 2 weeks. So you don't know. That's the thing. It's funny. I just hope that we don't totally dismantle the team, but we need to get some quality people for the people that we let go. So who knows? We'll see. We'll just have to wait and see.
As I saw during the draft coverage, the Angels are 30th in farm system rankings. That, of course, is the worst. It needs all the boosting they can get, for sure. All right,
and we're not rebuilding. That's funny.
Like you said earlier, would you say the team is doing building without rebuilding?
We're building without rebuilding, meaning that we're drafting these good young players, but we're not getting them through trades, and we're not going the rebuilding route because we're just, like Todd says, slapping a Band-Aid on everything until we decide that I wish we'd just go one way or the other. It's frustrating.
Definitely. We'll get out of here on that. Thank you for watching James Squared with me and Lou, of course. Be sure again to go to all of our sponsors' websites, betonline.com, Mezzo. Check out the Cazones right there in that Stadium Promenade, along with 714 tickets, and Noble Ale Works. I got to get out there. There'll be another live pretty soon at Mezzo with Todd, and I think Catella Chronicles. And then don't forget the tailgate party at Mezzo will be the 27th on that Saturday. So before you get into the Mike Trout bobblehead night, go to Mezzo. There'll be specials there, among other things. So take care, folks. We'll see you next time on James Squared. Later.
And let's go Halos.